Okay, in this tutorial we're going to go ahead and make the platform that goes on top of your base and slider. And yours does not have to look like this, but it basically has to operate on the principle of your slider slides inside of the cutout. The base can be any shape you want, any thickness, any length. The slider can be any size you want, but engineered to fit. So that'll be part of what you're graded on. And then you want some good contrast between your colors, and you want rounds and chamfers to make everything look finished off. So in the last tutorial we measured the distance between our pegs at about 54 inches. And so this doesn't have to be any actual scale or size that's realistic, but it just has to fit all the other corresponding parts. So we're going to make a platform that fits this now. So we'll go ahead and save this and exit. And we're going to close out of this. You can only have one active part in Creo at a time, so we definitely want to close out of this and then start a new part. And so we're going to make the platform, and it's going to be a part, and we're going to go ahead and draw this from the top view also. So I'm going to extrude from the top and go to sketch view, some kind of platform. Now it's going to be larger than the base, than the base. And one thing you can do that's kind of cool, and you may not want to use this, if you could, you don't have to, is there's a palette up here, and this palette gives you different shapes. And so if you want to look inside of here, there's different shapes that you can look through. There's stars. That might be something you want to do, so you don't have to figure out all the math on that. This might be kind of cool, like a 3-tip star, or maybe a 4-tip star for a ride. I'm thinking maybe the 4-tip star. So once you select the 4-tip star, you can go ahead and click on the drawing itself, and it'll load that in there, and then close out of here. And then we're going to go ahead and put in some dimensions. So I went ahead and middle clicked, and we just have to make this to fit our actual ride. So here we have a radius dimension, and let me think here how I want to go about this. One thing is we want to center the drawing. So I'm going to go ahead and say, from the center point to my plane, let's go ahead and make that 0. And then let's zoom in again. And say from my center point to this plane, middle click is going to be 0 also. So now I've got it centered on my plane. That might be handy down the road. And then I got to think about what diameter we want. Well, since our base is about a width and length of about 100, I'm going to go ahead and make the radius about 100, and we'll see what that looks like compared to our actual base and slider before we develop this too much. We don't want to accept this, get a lot of work into it, and then find out it's just not going to work for us. So we'll go ahead and accept this. And you can see it's making it really thick. Now, again, you're designing the ride here, so as far as thickness, this is up to you. The sliders were 5. I'm going to go ahead and make it 5 again. It'll let me do that here. 5. Nope, maybe not. Maybe I'm clicked on it here. Let's see what's going on. There we go. Alright, so there is a thickness of 5, and you can see that this would be the basis for the actual ride. Now this may or may not work, so we're going to go ahead and accept this and save it. And let's bring it into our assembly and check and see how far off is this from what we actually want. So we'll go ahead and open up our assembly drawing of our slider ride. And let's go ahead and add this part. Add the platform. And let's just see. Yeah, that looks like it might work. Okay. And I do want this bigger, because you got to think that if you're going to load people on this ride, that these points out here are going to stick out, and you can load the people on there. But again, this might be able to be twice as big. I'm thinking maybe let's make this bigger yet. So we can go ahead and get out of here and go back into our platform. And it's just a work in progress. So if we want to go back to our 2-dimensional drawing, we're going to click on the arrow over here, find section 1. This is the original 2D drawing. Right click, edit definition, and then I can change this radius to 200. Let's try 200. Okay, and let's make this circle a little bit bigger too, so these are thicker. Let's make this like 30. And we're just going for a certain look here. Let's try 45. Alright, I'm liking this a little bit better. Okay, so we'll accept this. And now we've got to develop this just a little bit. So first off, I've got to make holes in here, and the holes have got to correspond to what we did with the pigs. Now remember, the distance between those needed to be 54. So let's go ahead and extrude on the top surface and go to sketch view, some holes. Now it looks like we're not centered again here, so this is something we're going to have to address. So let's get back out of here for a second and go into our original extrude. So here's my arrow, and I'm coming back here. Somehow these dimensions got messed up, so I want this centered. So I'm going to go 0 here and then check the other way. It looks like we have 0 there. So I want the center of this 4 star on my actual plane. Okay, looks good. So let's try this again. Extrude on that surface, sketch view, and we're going to make 2 holes that are 54 apart. So I'm going to go ahead and make them, one right here, and I'm going to go ahead and make one right here. We're going to make them of equal size, and the radius of these is going to be 3, or excuse me, the diameter is going to be 3, and that should fit those pegs if I wrote down my information correct. And then the distance between the circles is going to be that 54. So we're going to go from center point to center point, middle click, 54, and we're really close. Okay, then half of 54 is 27, and so we're going to make this 27, which will center the holes. Now one possibility is that you don't make these centered inside the ride, which will make part of the ride stick out more than the other part. It'll actually kind of have a wobbling effect as it moves around. So it's just all in what you want. But we're going to go ahead and take these extrudes. We can always change that later if we want to. And accept this, and by default it's adding material. We're going to send the opposite direction and remove material. And that should make those holes right there. Okay, now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to add some detail to this that I'm going to build upon. So I'm going to go ahead and round some things just to make it look a little more finished off, because I want to see the definite separation between this part and the other parts. So I'm going to round the top. I'm also going to round the bottom, because you might see where that connects against there. Okay, and then I'm going to round these holes right here, so you can really see where that peg sticks out of there. Okay, there we go. Now you got to think ahead a little bit. What are you going to build on top of here? Well, are you going to have another pig coming up out of here and then something spinning on there? Are you going to have one seat or ride out here? Or are you going to have, say, 1, 2, 3? Or maybe you'll have one thing that spins that has another 4 star on it. So it's all kinds of possibilities. Maybe you're going to build a platform that comes up. Or maybe you're going to build a big arch that runs across there, and then there's a ride up on top of that. I mean, it's just, you're developing from the platform up anything super creative that you want to make. So for our example here, I'm going to go ahead and just put in one peg at the end of the star, and then I'll decide what I'm going to do with that later. So we'll go ahead and go extrude on the top surface, so right there, sketch view, and we'll make a little peg here, and I'm going to just use the same size just so I don't have too many things going on in terms of size. So let's do that, and then let's pick a number here, how far out from the center we want this to be. I'm thinking 125 maybe might look good for what I'm going to do, and yeah, maybe bigger, 140. Okay, let's go with that. And there's my peg. Okay, now it's probably too tall for what I'm thinking I'm going to do, so I'm going to go ahead and make it the same distance as I did the other one. So we'll go ahead and just do 5, and you could make it bigger if you want, but it's going to serve its purpose. So there's one peg. Now why didn't I make the other pegs? Well, I'm just going to go ahead and pattern it, and so I should have an axis running around here, or you could go back and just draw it. I'm going to try to pattern it. So we're going to go right click on extrude 3, pattern. We're going to make an axis pattern, and we're going to use the vertical y-axis to spin around, and we want to click this angular button, and we need 4 copies. So when we do that, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 pegs pop up. There you go. Okay, and then the last thing I want to do here is I want to color this. I would like to see some kind of transparent color, because we want to see those sliders in the base underneath. So I'm going to look for a transparent fill here. There's actually glass that you can select, and then you can actually color this glass too. You can tweak the color of it. Now this is just a basic glass, but this glass could be colored. You could come up here and we could say edit model appearances, and we could tweak the color of the glass, to a blue. We kind of have red and blue going on right now, so maybe you would want to do something different, maybe a greenish color, and there you go. So let's save this and put it on our assembly right now. So we're going to go to our assembly now. Go ahead and open that up. And in the next tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create the proper type of connection to add this platform on.